Have you ever wondered how some people manage to remain calm and resilient even in the most challenging situations? A few years ago, I went through an extremely difficult phase in my life. Problems at work, family conflicts, and a constant feeling of anxiety left me overwhelmed. It was then that I came across an ancient Stoic text that completely changed my perspective. By applying the principles of Stoicism, I found a new way to deal with challenges, living with more purpose and autonomy. In this video, I'll share with you 15 Stoic tips that transformed my life and can transform yours too. Stay until the end, as you'll discover how these ancient practices can bring peace and clarity to your modern life. First tip: self-control and discipline. Self-control is the ability to govern our emotions, impulses, and behaviors, while discipline is the ongoing practice of this control. In Stoicism, these qualities are seen as essential to the virtuous life. Without self-control, we are slaves to our desires and emotions. Without discipline, we cannot consistently apply the principles we value. A classic example of the use of self-control comes from the philosopher Epictetus, who taught that it is not the events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. For example, if someone insults us, the offense is not in the words said, but in how we perceive and react to them. If we maintain self-control, we can choose not to take offense and instead respond with calm and dignity. Applying self-control in everyday life can be challenging, especially in a world that constantly bombards us with stimuli and distractions. However, small daily practices like meditation, personal reflection, and establishing healthy routines can strengthen our discipline. For example, waking up early and dedicating time to reading philosophical texts or meditating on our values can better prepare us to face the day's challenges. Second tip: focus on what we can control. One of the most powerful teachings of Stoicism is the distinction between what we can and cannot control. Epictetus stated that we should only focus on what is within our control: our actions, thoughts, and attitudes. Everything else, including the actions of others, the weather, or external events, is beyond our control and therefore should not be a cause for concern. To illustrate this point, imagine you are stuck in traffic on your way to an important appointment. You can get angry and let frustration dominate your mood, or you can accept the situation and use the time productively, perhaps listening to an inspirational podcast or practicing mindful breathing. The choice is always in our hands. Staying focused on what we can control takes practice and a shift in mindset. A useful technique is to make a list of the challenges we face and divide them into two categories: controllable and uncontrollable. We then focus our efforts and energy only on possible solutions and actions, leaving aside what is beyond our reach. Third tip: practicing gratitude. Gratitude is a central component of Stoicism, as it helps us appreciate what we have and find satisfaction in the little things in life. The Stoics believed that by recognizing and being grateful for the blessings we already possess, we cultivate a mindset of abundance and contentment. Seneca, one of the great Roman Stoics, wrote extensively about the importance of gratitude. He advised that, at the end of each day, we reflect on the positive moments and express gratitude for them. This simple practice can transform our perspective and increase our overall well-being. To practice gratitude, try keeping a gratitude journal. Each night, write down 3 things you are grateful for. These could be significant events or small moments that brought joy to your day. By cultivating this habit, you will begin to notice more positive aspects in your life, promoting a more positive and resilient state of mind. Fourth tip: the art of living in the present. Living in the present is a practice that the Stoics deeply valued. They believed that many of our anxieties and regrets arise from focusing excessively on the past or the future. Marco Aurelio, in his Meditations, often reflected on the importance of concentrating on the present moment. The practice of mindfulness is a modern tool that resonates with Stoic teachings. By focusing our attention on the here and now, we can fully appreciate each experience and reduce the stress associated with future worries or past regrets. To start living in the present, try simple mindfulness exercises. It could be something as simple as paying attention to your breathing for a few minutes, noticing the sensations in your body, or fully engaging in an everyday task like washing the dishes or walking. The more we practice, the more natural it becomes to live in the present moment. Fifth tip: acceptance of impermanence. Acceptance of impermanence is another fundamental principle of Stoicism. The Stoics believed that everything in life is constantly changing and that resisting this reality only causes suffering. Accepting impermanence allows us to embrace life with all its uncertainties and make the most of each moment. Epictetus taught that we must mentally prepare ourselves for loss by visualizing the impermanence of everything we value. This practice, known as premeditatio malorum, helps us develop emotional resilience and face adversity with more serenity. To apply this principle, begin by recognizing that all things, including our own bodies, relationships, and material possessions, are temporary. Instead of fearing or avoiding this reality, celebrate each moment as unique and precious. Acceptance of impermanence is not passive resignation, but a way of living more fully and with fewer attachments. Sixth tip: resilience in the face of adversity. Resilience is an essential quality for facing life's difficulties, and the Stoics were masters of this art. For the Stoics, resilience is not just the ability to recover from a setback, but also the ability to face adversity calmly and rationally. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on how adversity is an opportunity to practice virtue. A classic example of Stoic resilience is the story of Epictetus, who began his life as a slave and, despite adverse conditions, became one of the most influential philosophers of his time. He taught that true freedom comes from within and that no one can harm us if we keep our minds free and disciplined. To develop resilience, it's helpful to adopt a growth mindset, seeing each challenge as an opportunity to learn and improve. Additionally, practices such as meditation and daily reflection can strengthen our ability to deal with stress and difficulties. When we face a difficult situation, we may ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? And how can I use this to grow? Seventh tip: simplifying life. The Stoics valued simplicity and believed that a simple life is freer from distractions and more focused on what really matters. Seneca advised that we should be content with little and avoid excess material goods, which often bring more worry than joy. Simplifying can start with small steps, like decluttering your living space, reducing your media consumption, or focusing on fewer but more meaningful activities. A simpler life allows us to better focus on our goals and values, bringing more clarity and inner peace. To simplify your life, try taking inventory of all your possessions and activities, identifying what really adds value and eliminating what isn't necessary. This process can lead to a more intentional and fulfilling life. Eighth tip: self-sufficiency and autonomy. Self-reliance is the ability to take care of yourself, both emotionally and physically, without being overly dependent on others. For the Stoics, true autonomy comes from within, from developing a strong and independent mind. Epictetus emphasized the importance of being self-reliant and self-reliant. He taught that we must prepare to be our own guides and teachers, trusting in our own ability to make wise and virtuous decisions. To develop self-reliance, start by identifying areas in your life where you depend too much on others and look for ways to become more independent. This could include learning new skills, strengthening your emotional well-being, or cultivating a support network that promotes autonomy rather than dependence. Ninth tip, wisdom and knowledge. The search for wisdom is one of the central goals of Stoicism. The Stoics believe that wisdom helps us live in accordance with nature and make decisions that lead to a virtuous and happy life. Seneca stated that knowledge is the food of the soul, and that we must constantly seek to learn and grow. Wisdom is not just the accumulation of information, but the ability to apply knowledge in a practical and ethical way. The Stoics recommended reading philosophical texts, reflecting on personal experiences, and continuous learning as ways to cultivate wisdom. To integrate the search for wisdom into your life, dedicate time daily to read and reflect on philosophical texts, question your own beliefs, and learn from the experiences of others. Wisdom is an ongoing process and must be sought with humility and dedication. 11th tip, relationships and community. Although Stoicism promotes self-reliance, it also recognizes the importance of relationships and community. The Stoics believed that we are social beings by nature and that living in harmony with others is crucial to a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the role of human relationships in his meditations, highlighting the importance of empathy, compassion, and justice in our dealings with others. He taught that we should treat everyone with dignity and respect, recognizing our interconnectedness. To cultivate healthy relationships and a strong community, practice empathy and open communication, seek to understand and support others, and engage in activities that promote collective well-being. The balance between self-reliance and mutual support is essential to a fulfilling Stoic life. 12th tip, death as an advisor. The Stoics had a pragmatic view of death, seeing it as a natural and inevitable part of life. Marcus Aurelius often meditated on his mortality to remind himself to live more fully and meaningfully. This practice is known as memento mori, or remember you are going to die. Reflecting on death is not morbid, but a powerful tool to remind us of the value of time and our priorities. When we are aware of the finiteness of life, we tend to make more conscious choices and value the present moments more. To incorporate this practice, set aside time regularly to meditate on your mortality. Think about the things you would do if you knew your time was limited and use that perspective to guide your daily decisions. Awareness of death can be a motivating force to live more purposefully and authentically. 13th tip, purpose and mission in life. Finding and following a purpose is fundamental for Stoics. They believed that each individual has a unique role to play in the universe, and that discovering that purpose is essential to a virtuous life. Seneca stated that living without a clear purpose is like sailing without a destination. To discover your purpose, the Stoics recommended introspection and reflection on your talents, passions, and values. Ask yourself what you want to contribute to the world and how your skills can be used for the greater good. Once you have identified your purpose, commit to following it with determination and focus. This may involve significant life changes, but aligning with your purpose will bring a deep sense of fulfillment and meaning. 14th tip, balance between work and leisure. The Stoics believed in the importance of balance between work and leisure. Working too much without rest can lead to burnout, while too much leisure without purpose can result in a life without direction. Marco Aurelio emphasized the importance of finding a healthy balance between action and rest. To achieve this balance, set clear boundaries for your professional and leisure activities. He dedicates time to productive work, but also to activities that recharge his energy and bring him joy. Practices such as meditation, physical exercise, and hobbies can help maintain this balance. Remember that the goal is not just to be productive, but to live a rich and fulfilling life in every way. The balance between work and leisure is essential for physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. 15th tip: virtue as a guide. For the Stoics, virtue is the supreme good and the main goal of life. Virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance are seen as pillars of a life well lived. Seneca taught that true happiness can only be found through the practice of virtue. Virtue involves making ethical decisions and acting in accordance with high principles, regardless of external circumstances. This can mean doing what is right, even when it is difficult or unpopular. To live by virtue, establish a personal code of ethics and commit to following it. Reflect on your daily actions and ask yourself if they are aligned with your values and principles. The continued practice of virtue leads to a life of integrity and self-respect. Daily meditation practices. Meditation is a central practice in Stoicism, helping to develop a clear and focused mind. Marcus Aurelius often used meditation to reflect on his actions and thoughts, seeking to align himself with Stoic principles. There are several forms of meditation that can be helpful, from mindfulness meditation, which focuses on breathing and bodily sensations, to reflective meditation, where we review our thoughts and actions in relation to our values. To begin a daily meditation practice, find a quiet place, sit comfortably, and take a few minutes to focus on your breathing or reflect on a Stoic principle. Over time, this practice can bring more clarity, calm, and purpose to your life. The Stoics believed that self-development is an ongoing journey. Seneca said that we should always seek to improve and learn, never being satisfied with mediocrity. Personal growth is seen as a lifelong commitment to continuous improvement. To engage in this journey, set clear goals for your personal and professional development. Seek learning opportunities, whether through courses, readings, or practical experiences. Regularly reflect on your progress and adjust your goals as needed. Self-development is not just about reaching new heights, but about becoming the best version of yourself. This ongoing journey is one of the keys to a full and meaningful life. Many modern individuals have applied Stoic principles to achieve great things and live inspiring lives. One notable example is author Ryan Holiday, who popularized contemporary Stoicism through his books and teachings. Another example is CEO Tim Ferriss, who uses Stoic practices to manage his life and business, promoting resilience, focus, and productivity. His stories exemplify how Stoic principles can be applied in the modern world to achieve success and well-being. Studying these examples can provide inspiration and guidance on how to apply Stoic teachings in your own life. Learn from your experiences and adapt your practices to your personal circumstances and goals. Reviewing the tips discussed, we see that Stoicism offers a robust guide to living with purpose and autonomy. From practicing gratitude to developing resilience and self-control, each Stoic principle can be applied to improve our daily lives. To apply these principles, start with small changes. Introduce daily meditation practices, simplify your life, and cultivate gratitude. Over time, these changes accumulate and transform your perspective and experience of life. Remember that Stoicism is not about achieving perfection, but about making continuous progress toward a virtuous life. Every step we take brings us closer to a more meaningful and balanced existence.